Today is Wednesday, October the 28th. I am your host, KC Phoenix. It is morning in Los Angeles and it is morning in America. And this is my morning political thought. As some of you may already know, I do the social media stuff and then I do the side news stories. And then, of course, I do the main morning political thought. For the social media stuff, thepurpleelephantshow.com, main podcasting platform, The Purple Elephant Show on Parler, on Instagram. If you are on Twitter, at RealTPES, Facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show if you're watching this on BitChute, Dailymotion, or YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell for YouTube. And that is all for the social media platforms. Now, for the news. And speaking of social media, I literally have going on to the right of me the hearing of the Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey being grilled by the Senate, which one of my side news stories is about Zuckerberg, but I'm not going to go into it just yet. I want to go into something else. This is from the Epoch Times. I just love saying that. Epoch Times. And it's about ICE. ICE was forced to release it was exactly 250 dangerous detainees. They were forced to release them. And in this article, it's saying Immigrations and Custom Enforcement that announced on Tuesday that a California district court ruling mandating a reduction of the overall detainee population at a processing facility in Adelanto has led to the release of dangerous criminal aliens in various communities. Now, a court in the Central District of California ordered the reduction, leaving the current population at the facility at around 465 individuals. Now, this had prompted ICE's senior official performing the duties of Director Tony H. Pham. And he issued a statement saying ICE has complied with this overreaching court order. However, the public should know that the ruling undoubtedly places them at greater risk. Over 250 illegal immigrants with criminal histories, including assault with a deadly weapon, lewd, lascivious acts with a child, hit and run, and child cruelty, were released from the Adelanto ICE Processing Center, which is maintained by a federal contractor, ICE stated. And then it was also said, ICE has been placed in a difficult circumstance to comply with a binding order that completely contradicts our duty to this nation. The criminal aliens have serious convictions and charges. Releasing them is an extremely risky gamble to take with public safety. Among the roughly 730 illegal immigrants detained at the Adelanto facility prior to the court-ordered population reduction, over 85% had pending criminal charges and/or convictions, ICE stated. The Adelanto facility is the largest immigration detention facility in California. It has long been the target of protests by activist groups, with police arresting 3 protesters there last month, including 2 men arrested for becoming angry and violent towards law enforcement officers and attempting to lynch a 3rd protester from police custody, according to the San Bernardino County Sheriff Department. So this is what's going on in my wonderful state that I live in, California, which I give thanks every day because I know it won't be too much longer that I'm here. Just like me and everyone else, a lot of people are leaving California for obvious reasons. But this story was interesting to me because of what was brought up, that some of these criminals were released that was related to them with a deadly assault with a deadly weapon, lewd, lascivious acts with a child, hit and run, and child cruelty. And the California court, Central District Court of California, ordered for these people to be released into the general population, and not general population in prison, general population in the state of California. So, yeah, wherever these people go to, and I use the term people loosely, good luck for those who have to interact with them. So I just wanted to cover that side news story. All right. Another side news story. Where are we at? Early voting. Early voting, early voting. Early voting is not working out the way the Democrats had envisioned it would work out. And this is from the Washington Times, but also it's been in other news outlets as well. But with early voting, I already knew this was going to happen with the whole situation. And everything is falling into place with what I had said about my premonition about the 2020 election and President Trump winning. So with this, the way the results are coming back in, everything is happening the way my premonition was saying it's going to happen. And I can't wait till election day because there's going to be a huge laugh. But anyways, let me get to this article. All right, early voting in key states falls short of Democrats' hopes. New early voting data shows Democrats falling short. They put failing. I say falling. So falling short to hit their mark in several battleground states, giving Trump campaign officials reasons for optimism Tuesday as President Trump rallied voters in key Midwestern states and Democrat Joe Biden made a play for traditionally red Georgia. In Florida, Iowa, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Arizona, Democrats are falling short of their target of 70% of early votes cast either in person or by mail. That is the lead they hope to build up to stave off an expected higher Republican turnout on Election Day. The Democrats have not opened up a large enough lead in the early vote totals, and they know it, said Trump Campaign Communications Director Tim Murtaugh. They have now realized that they have put too many eggs in the vote by mail basket, and they're not hitting the marks they need. Campaigning in battleground Michigan, which does not track partisan affiliation of early voting, Mr. Trump said he has pulled ahead by 3 percentage points. He apparently was referring to internal campaign polling. Yeah, and by the way, with polling, I always tell people all the time with polling, the only poll that matters is the day of the election. However, when it comes to polls done by Gallup, Rasmussen, Harris, whatever, and internal polling, the internal polling is usually more accurate because the other polling can tend to be biased, just like they try to put out those suppression polls for people to keep people from coming out to vote, or they're trying to shape the narrative with polls. Versus with internal polling, you don't want suppression polls with internal polling. You don't want to shape the narrative with internal polling. You want to have the best, most accurate polling as to where you stand or where you may stand when it comes to how people are going to vote. So internal polling is usually more accurate than all the other polls. However, even with internal polling, the only polls that matter are the day of the election when people vote. That's the only one that matters. But anyways, all right. He apparently was referring to internal campaign polling. Biden leads by an average of 9 percentage points in public polls. We're going to have a great red wave, said Mr. Trump, who also had a campaign stop Tuesday in Wisconsin and stopped in Nebraska. All right, in this, I'm not reading it exactly word for word. I'm bouncing around and changing a few things a little bit. Please vote. Help get out the vote, Biden said at a rally in Atlanta. If you are voting by mail, return your ballot as soon as possible and make sure everyone you know does the same. Yeah, I doubt Joe Biden will win Georgia. I just don't see it. And there was another side news article. I just decided not to cover it. They were talking about that President Trump had picked up support from the black vote, which Everybody knows that. But they were saying that most black people still back Biden. This is my thing. You can have most black people still back Biden, but the question is, will they vote for Biden? Backing someone or saying that, oh yeah, I'm for this person or I'm against this person, saying that and voting are two different things. I can say that, oh, I'm for Trump. But if I don't mail in my ballot in California, which honestly, I will more than likely mail it in this weekend. I'm not that rushed. For me, it is more of, and I know I'm getting off on a little side tangent here, but whatever. For me, with my ballot in California, the only reason that I'm filling it out is to say that I voted for President Trump. So it's on record that I voted for President Trump. I don't feel that my ballot means anything in California. I don't. I'll fill it out this weekend, more than likely, and mail it in. But as for it being a ballot that will make a difference in the state of California, no, because a lot of people in California are ignorant. They just don't follow politics, or either they get a little soundbite and think that they are politicos, or they believe the facts that are presented to them are totally wrong when they're actually facts. Sort of like the situation with Hunter Biden, which I will go into later on my morning political thought. So, and then you have ballot harvesting as well in the state of California. So it's just the point of this state is going to have to crumble. It will have to completely fall apart for it to turn on for it to turn on the light in people's heads to be like, hey, maybe these policies aren't working. But for me, with mailing in my ballot, it's just more to say, get on the record that I voted for President Trump. And for all I know, they may take my ballot as soon as they see President Trump and throw it away. And, this is California. I don't expect President Trump to win California. I don't expect him to win this blue state. Do I expect him to win another blue state? Stay tuned for the election and my premonition. So, yeah. But anyways, as for this, let me see if I can get some more percentages here. In Iowa, Democrats' edge over Republicans in early voting has fallen to a margin of 49.3 to 31.9. In North Carolina, Democrats have cast about 39% of the state's early votes, compared with 30% for Republican voters and 30% by people with no party affiliation. Pennsylvania's early vote total showed Democrats nearly reaching the goal of 70%. Don't forget that Pennsylvania is the state where Philadelphia is the area that they didn't want poll watchers, but these are minor details. I'll get back to this. Casting 68.9% of the 1.8 million mail ballots returned so far. Republicans account for 21.3% of ballots returned, while 9.1% have no party affiliation. Representative Mike Kelly, a Pennsylvania Republican who speaks on behalf of the Trump campaign, said the Biden team shouldn't count on all those votes by registered Democrats. He said many blue-collar Democrats in his state are voting for Mr. Trump. That's something I've been saying. If you've been following my show, I've been saying that, and I even did that as a morning political thought. Not all Democrats are voting for Biden, or either the title of the show was Don't Assume All Democrats Are Voting for Biden, and I brought it up a few days ago as well. You can be a registered Democrat and vote in the general election for a Republican. So just because a Democrat voted, it doesn't mean they voted for Biden. So I just as he's saying that, I want to say it again for the umpteenth time. And people need to realize that. All right, let me see if I see any other percentages. I'm just scanning the article as well. Yeah, Texas Democrat Party said 860,000 people younger than 29 had cast ballots in the state, and nearly half of those had never participated in a general election before. So it looks like young voters are being energized in Texas, so that's a good thing. I don't see anything else in this article I like, so I'm just going to skip it. All right. Now, on to what I had earlier and what I mentioned at the beginning of this particular episode with the social media. So on this article, Zuckerberg to call for more social media regulations. It says Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and this is from the Washington Times. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg will call for a more active role for government and regulators in testimony to Senate committee, which he's doing right now. The Washington Times has learned Mr. Zuckerberg will tell lawmakers that he supports their efforts to change Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects social media companies from legit liability for content posted by users on their platforms. The protection is a target for lawmakers who want to rein in big tech's power and limit the company's ability to restrict speech online. I believe Congress should update the law to make sure it's working as intended, Mr. Zuckerberg will say, according to the prepared remarks. We will support the ideas around transparency and industry collaboration that are discussed in some of the current bipartisan proposals, and I look forward to a meaningful dialogue about how we might update the law to deal with problems we face today. All right, he's testifying right now. You're probably watching it or probably already seen it. For this can be one of two things. It can be one thing, lip service, or it can be he sincerely means it. For me, the energy that I'm picking up from Mark Zuckerberg is that he sincerely means it. I believe the situation with Mark Zuckerberg is this. It's almost like he has this thing and he was able to control it when it was smaller. He was able to make sure that people stayed within, they colored within the lines, so to speak. But now that it's gotten so big, he doesn't know how to control it. He doesn't know how to. As a CEO, that is a failure on his part, because a CEO should know how to control their company, the employees of their company. He has full reign over Facebook. He is the CEO. Now, of course, he reports to his shareholders, but to my understanding, Mark Zuckerberg still has a controlling share in Facebook. So whatever he wants, he can do. I doubt they could have a vote to vote him out as CEO of Facebook or anything of that nature if he still has a controlling interest in the company. I haven't looked up who owns what with Facebook, but I'm pretty sure he owns the majority of the shares. If he doesn't, that's a different story, because then he would be afraid that he'd get thrown out if he were to try and buck whatever the others were doing. But if he owns all of the shares and he is the or not all, but if he owns the majority of the shares and he is the CEO, it's harder to get him thrown out. Therefore, he controls what happens. If he doesn't like something going on in his company, then as a CEO of his company, it is his job to fix it. It isn't his job to go crawling to the government saying, please, I can't control my company. Will you invoke Section 230 because we need more regulation because I can't do it, and da 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 da. Or he doesn't want to be the bad guy. That could also be a thing too, where he doesn't want to be the bad cop. He's like, well, guys, I don't want to be the bad cop. You knew this was coming and the government was going to do this. And I had to say, that Section 230 needs to be, updated because eventually they were going to come after Facebook and that would have been bad for everybody. So I just had to do it. And the government will take care of it now and whatever. Yeah. So it could be that situation. I honestly believe that he wants to fix the situation. He wants things to be fair, but he just can't control his company anymore. And it isn't a point of him being a bad guy, even though that might be a little bit of it, but not much. But I just believe he can't control his company anymore. And that's what it boils down to. So here comes the government to help him control his company with regulation, because he doesn't know how to do it in and can't do it because it's gotten too big. So that's what I believe that is. I believe there is some sincerity there. I'm not picking up an energy of insincerity from him. So that's my thought on Mark Zuckerberg. As for this one, I'm not even going to cover much of this. You can look this up on the New York Post. There was a fight on Spirit Airlines, talk about getting in the Spirit. It was over mask wearing. Somebody was going up and down the flights, or up and down the aisles and switching seats and doing this while not wearing a mask. They were telling him to put on a mask and all this stuff. When the plane finally landed, then a fight was breaking out. The person got tased, and it was just a mess, is what it was. The article is on the New York Post, but I'm sure it's on some other outlets too. But if you want to know where exactly I found out this from, it was on the New York Post, and it was over mask wearing, and a fist brawl broke out in the midst of everyone on the plane, which is another reason why I don't like flying commercial. So, okay. Next thing as well, which this is also on many websites, but I'm pulling this from the Washington Post with the Trump campaign. And I thought I had it up. Here, let me take a look to see. Wow. Okay. It just disappeared on me. How it vanishes. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this from memory. I had the article up. Thought I did anyway. So President Trump's website was temporarily brought down. Somebody infiltrated the website and took it down. So now President Trump is working with the FBI and so on and so forth to see how President Trump's official website was hacked. So I don't know what the deal is on that, but yeah, not cool. Not cool at all. But everything, to my understanding, is back to normal now for President Trump's official campaign website, but it was briefly hacked. So yeah, now let's go ahead and get into the main morning political thought. Tony Bobulinski, I watched the Tucker Carlson thing last night. I'm going to tell you this when it comes to that situation. I don't believe that something is right with him. Just like I told you guys that there's something about Jared Kushner. I can't put my finger on it. Can't put my finger on it. Don't know what it is, but there's something there. And regardless of how many good things he does, and yeah, I give him credit for what he's doing with the Middle East and with criminal justice reform and all that stuff. If he's done good things, I give him credit for it. However, there is something about Jared Kushner that I can't put my finger on. Yes, I know Ivanka just tweeted up, and I love Ivanka. I know she just tweeted something about their anniversary. They've been married 15 years or something like that or whatever. Oh, and I'm happy for them. Great. Okay, fine, whatever. But there's something about Jared Kushner I can't put my finger on. I don't know what it is. Maybe one day we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But my instincts are usually right. I feel this way about this Tony Bobulinski. The energy I'm picking up from him is that something is off. I don't know what it is. The thing I think I'm picking up, one of the things, is that he's not doing this to let the American public know. It's not a thing of, oh, well, it's in the best interest of the American public. It's something else. I don't know what it is. And I'm not saying the information isn't accurate, because how he is presenting it, it's really not him. It's not his information. It's the factual evidence of the situation. He's just saying, here is the factual evidence. That's all he's saying. But when it comes to him as an individual, the energy that I'm picking up, him doing this, and him saying that the reason he did it, because the other guy, I forgot what his name was, wouldn't call up, Hunter, and have Hunter talk to Joe, and have Joe talk to Adam Schiff to retract that thing about the Russians and all that stuff because it was dragging his reputation through the mud. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. That's not the reason he put that evidence out there. It's something else. I can't put my finger on it, and I can't put my finger on the energy with him because something isn't right with him. I can't put my finger on it. But yeah, I don't trust it. I trust the information because the information is factual. The information is factual. So that's a given. But for him as a person, the character, like if you were to put him on the witness stand, if he had to go on the witness stand in front of a judge and a jury, an attorney would tear him apart because an attorney would more than likely pick up what I'm picking up. There's something else there. I don't know what it is, just like I don't know what it is with Jared Kushner, but there's something else there. So if something comes out later about Tony Bobulinski, don't be surprised if it comes out later. Because all the stuff he's releasing, his saving grace right now is that the media does not want to cover this stuff. That is his saving grace. That all the media outlets are ignoring most of the stuff involving Hunter Biden. If the media outlets were really digging into the stuff regarding Hunter Biden and actually looking at the evidence that has been presented, and the evidence is factual. So it's there. If the media was actually looking into that stuff, then he would probably have a problem. Not because of the evidence itself, because like I said, I believe that evidence is factual and everything is correct. And obviously Joe Biden is corrupt, along with Hunter Biden being forced to go along on the ride. But with Tony Bobulinski, there is something else there with his character, with his background, that isn't adding up. And I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. But it's there. So, but like I said, the media pretty much not covering things right now, that's their saving grace. And that's how I feel about that. And that's my morning political thought for the Tony Bobulinski situation. Anyways, thepurpleelephantshow.com main podcasting platform, The Purple Elephant Show on Parler, Instagram, Facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show, on Twitter @RealTPES. If you are watching this on BitChute, YouTube, Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell on YouTube. And that's all I have. Thank you everyone for your support and for listening. I appreciate it more than you will ever know. Until next time, be blessed.